Hey, what do you want?
Mr. Suzuki, isn't he your chief?
The kicks came faster than film could capture. The rage burned hotter than any studio could control. And one man, Bruce Lee, turned a low-budget revenge film into a cultural earthquake. But behind the iconic Nunchaku scene and that legendary flying kick, nothing went as planned. The star almost quit. The studio censored the ending. And one fight scene, it sent Bruce to the hospital mid-shoot. These are 20 weird facts about Fist of Fury. And the bonus? There's a deleted scene so violent, audiences in 1972 would have rioted. Let's strike first. Number 1. Bruce Lee didn't want to make Fist of Fury, not at first. He'd just wrapped The Big Boss, his explosive return to Hong Kong cinema after years of struggling in Hollywood. The film shattered box office records, turned him into an overnight sensation, and suddenly everyone wanted more. Director Lo Wei came calling with another script, another revenge story, another chance to capitalize on Bruce's newfound stardom. But Bruce was exhausted. He'd pushed his body to the breaking point on The Big Boss, suffered injuries, dealt with a chaotic production, and watched the studio cut scenes without his input. He told producer Raymond Chow he needed time to recover, to train, to think about his next move carefully. Chow didn't give him time. He offered more money, promised more creative control, and dangled something Bruce couldn't refuse: a larger platform to showcase his martial arts philosophy. The studio needed another hit immediately while Bruce's name was hot. So Bruce said yes, but with conditions. He wanted input on fight choreography. He wanted longer takes to show complete techniques, and he wanted the character to have depth beyond just punching and kicking. Chow agreed to some of it, but from day one of production, tensions simmered. Because Bruce Lee wasn't just making another kung fu movie, he was trying to make a statement, and the studio just wanted to make money fast. Number 2. The opening scene wasn't meant to be violent. It was supposed to be quiet, somber, respectful. Chen Zhen, Bruce's character, returns to his martial arts school only to discover his beloved teacher has died under mysterious circumstances. The original script called for tears, for quiet mourning, for traditional funeral customs. But when cameras rolled, Bruce brought something darker. He didn't just cry, he collapsed. He screamed. He pounded the coffin with raw, unfiltered grief that made the crew freeze behind their equipment. Director Lo Wei called cut, confused by the intensity. Bruce snapped back that Chen Zhen wouldn't hold it together, wouldn't be dignified, wouldn't follow protocol because his world had just shattered. Lo Wei wanted to reshoot it calmer, safer, more controlled. Bruce refused. He said if Chen doesn't break here, nothing that follows will matter. The pain has to be real or the revenge becomes hollow. They argued for 20 minutes while the crew watched in uncomfortable silence. Finally, Lo Wei backed down, not because he agreed, but because they were burning daylight and budget. That scene stayed exactly as Bruce performed it: raw, intense, almost uncomfortable to watch, and it became the emotional anchor of the entire film. Because Bruce Lee understood something the director didn't. Revenge without pain is just violence, but revenge born from love, that's tragedy. Number 3. The Nunchaku almost never made it into the film. Those iconic spinning wooden sticks that became Bruce Lee's signature weapon weren't in the original script at all. Chen Zhen was supposed to fight with his fists and feet only, traditional martial arts. Nothing fancy, nothing exotic. But Bruce had been training with Nunchaku for years, fascinated by the Okinawan weapon's speed and unpredictability. He'd incorporated them into his personal training, showing them to students at his martial arts schools in California. When he arrived in Hong Kong for Fist of Fury, he brought a pair with him. During a break between takes, he started spinning them casually, warming up, staying loose. The stunt coordinator walked by, stopped dead, and watched in silence as Bruce whipped the Nunchaku through patterns too fast to follow. He immediately called Lo Wei over. They needed this in the film. Bruce hesitated, worried it would look like showing off, like adding a weapon just for spectacle. But the coordinator convinced him. The Japanese antagonists have swords and guns. Chen needs something that levels the field while staying true to Chinese martial arts roots. Bruce agreed on one condition: the Nunchaku couldn't just appear randomly. There had to be context, a moment where Chen picks them up deliberately, makes them part of his arsenal. So they wrote in the dojo scene, where Chen grabs the weapon in desperation during an ambush. One improvised warm-up became cinema history. and suddenly every martial artist in the world wanted to learn Nunchaku. Number 4. Bruce Lee's scream wasn't acting. That piercing, guttural battle cry that became his trademark, the one that made audiences jump in their seats. It came from somewhere deeper than performance. During fight choreography, Bruce would often vocalize his strikes, a technique rooted in his martial arts training. The sharp exhalations helped focus power, tighten core muscles, and intimidate opponents. But director Lo Wei told him to stay quiet during filming. Too loud, too distracting, too unprofessional for cinema. Bruce complied for the first few fight scenes, keeping his movements silent except for the sound of impact. But something felt wrong. The fights looked good but felt empty, lacking the raw energy Bruce brought to real combat. So, during a major fight sequence in the Japanese dojo, Bruce ignored the director's instructions completely. He let loose with full-throated screams, ki-is that echoed through the set and rattled the boom microphones. Lo Wei immediately called cut, furious about the audio levels being ruined. They argued again, Bruce insisting that real fighting isn't quiet, that warriors make noise, that the scream is part of the weapon. The sound engineer intervened, saying they could adjust the levels in post-production, balance it out, make it work. Lo Wei reluctantly agreed to keep shooting. When audiences saw the film, that scream became iconic. It wasn't polite, it wasn't pretty, it was primal, and it terrified viewers in the best possible way. Bruce Lee didn't just fight on screen, he brought the violence of combat straight into the theater. Number 5. The famous Japanese dojo scene almost killed someone. Not Bruce, not a stuntman, but a cameraman who got too close to the action. The sequence was ambitious. Chen Zhen storms into the rival Japanese school alone, challenges everyone inside, and proceeds to demolish the entire dojo in a whirlwind of kicks, punches, and acrobatic fury. The choreography required multiple camera angles, tight spaces, and dozens of stunt performers getting thrown through paper walls and wooden structures. During one take, Bruce executed a spinning back kick aimed at a stuntman's chest. The stuntman was supposed to fly backward into a prop wall, crash through it dramatically, and sell the impact. But Bruce's kick came faster and harder than expected. The stuntman went flying, crashed through the wall as planned, but kept going. He slammed into a heavy camera rig positioned just behind the set wall. The camera toppled. The cameraman dove sideways, barely avoiding 200 pounds of equipment crushing him. Everything stopped. The cameraman was shaking, but unharmed. The stuntman had bruised ribs and a split lip, but could continue. Bruce was horrified. He'd calculated the distance wrong, hit with too much power, endangered the crew. He wanted to stop shooting for the day, give everyone time to reset. But the producer insisted they had to finish the scene or lose the location. So they kept going, but with one change. Bruce pulled every technique back slightly, sacrificing some visual impact for safety. Even dialed back, the scene remained devastating. Because even at 70%, Bruce Lee was still faster and more powerful than anyone else in the frame. Number 6. The film was banned in multiple countries, but not for violence. Governments from Singapore to Malaysia to parts of Europe blocked Fist of Fury from theaters, citing concerns about the movie's themes. The story of a Chinese martial artist violently opposing Japanese occupiers struck nerves in regions with their own complex histories of colonialism and occupation. Censors worried the film would incite anti-Japanese sentiment, spark protests, or inspire violence against foreign nationals. In Singapore, the ban lasted nearly a decade. Officials claimed the movie promoted racial hatred and could destabilize the region's fragile ethnic balance. Bruce Lee was furious when he heard. He argued that the film wasn't about hating Japanese people, it was about resisting oppression and standing up for dignity. The Japanese characters weren't villains because they were Japanese. They were villains because they were colonizers, bullies, murderers. But censorship boards didn't see nuance. They saw Chinese versus Japanese, violence as solution, and a charismatic hero making vengeance look heroic. Some countries tried compromise. They'd allow the film if the studio changed the ending, removed certain lines of dialogue, or edited fight scenes to reduce brutality. Raymond Chow refused most requests. He knew cutting the film would gut its message. So Fist of Fury played in limited markets, became a cult phenomenon through underground screenings and bootleg copies. The bans didn't kill the film, they made it legendary, because nothing makes a movie more powerful than a government afraid of it. Number 7. Bruce Lee's body was shutting down during filming. The production schedule was brutal. 6-day weeks, 12-hour days, constant physical output with minimal recovery time. Bruce was performing every fight sequence himself. No doubles for wide shots, no rest between takes. He'd wake at 5 in the morning to train before shooting, spend all day filming, then review footage and plan choreography until midnight. His weight dropped dangerously low. His hands swelled from repeated impacts against wooden boards and stone walls. His back, which had been injured years earlier during a weightlifting incident, started screaming every morning when he got out of bed. The studio doctor examined him midway through production and recommended 2 weeks off. Bruce refused. They were behind schedule already. Any delay would push the release date. And he'd seen what happened to Hong Kong films that lost momentum. They disappeared. So he kept going, fueled by painkillers, traditional Chinese medicine, and pure willpower. During one particularly demanding fight scene, he threw a kick and felt something pop in his lower back. He collapsed mid-take, face gray, unable to stand. The crew rushed in, certain filming was over. Bruce lay there for 10 minutes, breathing through the pain, visualizing his spine realigning. Then he stood up, walked it off, and finished the scene. When production finally wrapped, he went straight to the hospital and spent 3 days in bed, hooked to an IV. The doctor told him his body was on the verge of complete breakdown. Bruce smiled and asked when he could start training for his next film. Number 8. The final fight wasn't choreographed, at least not entirely. Bruce had planned the broad strokes with the stunt coordinator, but when cameras rolled for the climactic battle between Chen Zhen and the Japanese dojo master, Bruce started improvising. He'd throw a combination not in the script, force his opponent to react authentically, then counter based on their natural response. The stunt performer playing the Japanese master was Robert Baker, a British martial artist with legitimate skills and enough experience to keep up with Bruce's unpredictability. What ended up on screen was closer to a real fight than a rehearsed sequence. Baker actually had to defend himself. Bruce actually had to problem solve mid-combat. The result was raw, chaotic, and absolutely electric. You can see moments where Baker looks genuinely surprised by Bruce's choices, where Bruce adjusts on the fly because Baker blocked something unexpected. Director Lo Wei hated it. He couldn't cut the scene together smoothly because the action didn't repeat the same way twice, but the editor loved it. The unpredictability made it feel dangerous, like anything could happen, like Chen might actually lose. After hours of assembling footage, they created something that didn't look like any martial arts film before it. No dramatic pauses, no posing, no waiting for the next move. Just two fighters trying to destroy each other. When test audiences saw it, they erupted. Some claimed it was too intense, too real, too violent, but nobody looked away. And that final confrontation became the blueprint for how future films would try to capture authentic martial arts combat. Number 9. The original ending was completely different and much darker. In the version Bruce Lee wanted, Chen Zhen doesn't die. After defeating the Japanese master and avenging his teacher, Chen escapes into the night, disappearing into legend. The final shot was supposed to be him walking away from Shanghai, a lone figure heading into an uncertain future, forever marked by violence but still alive, still fighting. It was ambiguous, thought-provoking, and true to Bruce's philosophy that martial arts shouldn't glorify death, but rather emphasize survival and continuing the struggle. But the studio demanded something more dramatic. They worried audiences would feel unsatisfied without a definitive conclusion. They wanted tragedy, sacrifice, a hero who pays the ultimate price for his revenge. So, they shot an alternate ending. Chen surrounded by armed police and soldiers, choosing to die rather than surrender, running directly into a hail of gunfire. The screen freezes on Chen mid-leap, captured forever in one final defiant jump kick. Bruce hated it. He fought with Raymond Chow for days, arguing that killing Chen betrayed everything the character represented. But Chow held firm. The tragic ending tested better with focus groups, and Golden Harvest needed a guaranteed hit. Bruce finally conceded, but on one condition: they had to film his preferred ending too, just in case. They did, though that version was never released theatrically. For decades, it existed only in vaults and rare bootlegs. When Bruce Lee died just a year later, the studio's ending took on haunting new meaning: art imitating life, imitating art. Number 10. The iconic "Chinese are not the sick men of Asia" scene was shot in a single take. One of the film's most powerful moments comes early, when Chen Zhen storms into the Japanese dojo, carrying a sign that reads "Sick Man of Asia," an insulting caricature meant to demean Chinese people. He demands to know who sent it, insults the students, then systematically destroys everyone who challenges him before smashing the sign and delivering his defiant declaration. The scene runs nearly 4 minutes without cuts, a blistering continuous shot of Bruce demolishing 10 opponents while delivering dialogue. Most directors would have broken it into multiple angles, covered themselves with different takes, given themselves options in editing. Lo Wei shot it straight through because Bruce insisted. He wanted audiences to feel the sustained intensity, to watch Chen's rage build without relief, to experience the exhaustion of continuous combat. They rehearsed it once. Then they rolled camera. Bruce fought through the entire sequence, dialogue and all, while the camera tracked his movements in real time. One stuntman missed a cue and got kicked harder than planned. Bruce kept going. Another stumbled during a throw, nearly fell into the camera crew. Bruce adjusted mid-motion and kept going. By the end of the 4 minutes, everyone was breathing hard, not from acting, but from actual physical exhaustion. Lo Wei called cut, expecting they'd need another take to clean up the mistakes. But when he watched playback, he knew they had it. The errors made it more real. The exhaustion in Bruce's face wasn't performance. It was genuine fatigue mixed with barely controlled fury. They moved on to the next scene, and somewhere in Hong Kong, a single 4-minute shot changed how cinema would approach fight choreography forever. Number 11. The Nunchaku scene had to be filmed at half speed, then sped up in post-production. Not because Bruce was too slow, but because he was too fast. When Bruce spun the Nunchaku at full speed during initial filming, the wooden sticks blurred so badly on camera they became invisible. Audiences wouldn't be able to see the weapon, just Bruce's hands moving and bodies falling. The cinematographer explained that film cameras in 1972 couldn't capture motion that rapid without special, high-speed equipment they couldn't afford. So, they tried something radical. Bruce performed the sequence at roughly 60% speed, moving the Nunchaku deliberately slower than his natural rhythm. In post-production, they increased the playback speed, bringing it closer to real time. The result was visible enough to track, but still impossibly fast. Bruce hated watching himself in slow motion. It felt unnatural, went against every instinct he'd developed about timing and rhythm. But when he saw the final edited version, he admitted it worked. The Nunchaku were visible. The impacts felt devastating, and audiences could actually follow the weapon's path. Years later, martial artists studying the film would argue about whether Bruce was really that fast or if it was camera tricks. The truth, he was faster. Number 12. Nora Miao, who played Bruce's love interest Yuan. Li couldn't stand him at first. She found him arrogant, obsessive, and impossible to work with. Bruce would critique her movements between takes, tell her she wasn't standing correctly, wasn't reacting authentically, wasn't embodying the character's strength. She was an established actress with years of experience, and here was this newcomer from America telling her how to perform. Their arguments became legendary on set. Once, she walked off mid-scene, refusing to continue until Bruce stopped directing her. But something shifted during a pivotal emotional scene where Yuan discovers Chen's true identity. Miao delivered her lines, and Bruce watched in complete silence. When Lo Wei called cut, Bruce walked over and quietly said one word: perfect. No notes, no corrections, just genuine respect. From that moment, their relationship transformed. They began discussing characters between scenes, finding deeper motivations, pushing each other to bring more vulnerability to their performances. By the end of filming, they'd become close friends. Miao later said Bruce taught her that precision wasn't arrogance, it was caring enough to demand excellence. And Bruce admitted she taught him that not every moment needed to be choreographed to perfection. Number 13. The film's most brutal scene never made the final cut. In a sequence that would have come after Chen destroys the Japanese dojo, Bruce shot an extended torture scene where Japanese soldiers capture one of Chen's fellow students and beat him to death in front of a crowd. The scene lasted nearly 8 minutes, unflinching and graphic, designed to show the true horror of occupation and why Chen's rage was justified. Bruce insisted on including it, arguing that sanitizing the violence would make the film dishonest. But when Raymond Chow saw the footage, he immediately ordered it removed. Not because it was too violent for audiences, but because it was too real. The scene didn't feel like entertainment. It felt like documentary footage of actual atrocity. Test audiences walked out during that sequence, some in tears, others visibly shaken. Chow explained that Fist of Fury needed to be a film people could watch, not endure. Bruce fought the decision for weeks, but ultimately the scene was cut entirely. Only still photographs survived, locked in Golden Harvest's archives. Decades later, film historians who saw those images described them as some of the most disturbing content ever filmed for a martial arts movie. Bruce never forgave himself for agreeing to the cut. Number 14. Bruce designed his character's hair to be a weapon. That might sound absurd, but it's true. Chen Zhen's slightly longer, somewhat wild hairstyle wasn't just aesthetic. Bruce specifically asked the hair department to keep it long enough that it would move dramatically during fight scenes, whipping across his face, creating additional visual chaos. He studied how samurai films used hair as part of their visual language, how a character's hair falling loose signaled loss of control or deep emotion. During fight choreography, Bruce would time certain moves so his hair would swing across his eyes at impact, obscuring his vision momentarily and forcing him to fight partially blind. It added unpredictability to his movements, made him appear more dangerous, more unhinged. The film's most iconic image, Chen Zhen, frozen midair executing a flying kick, features his hair suspended in perfect arc above his head. That wasn't an accident. Bruce had calculated the jump's height and rotation, specifically to make his hair lift dramatically at the apex. When posters were designed, that hair became part of his silhouette, instantly recognizable. Critics dismissed it as vanity. Bruce called it completeness. Every element of a fighter contributes to their presence, including what moves when they move. Number 15. The movie's famous jumping kick through the "No dogs in Chinese allowed" sign wasn't one take. It took 17 attempts, and Bruce injured himself on attempt number 14. The scene required Bruce to sprint full speed, leap into the air, execute a perfect flying kick, smash through the wooden sign, and land cleanly without falling. The first few attempts, Bruce cleared the sign, but his landing was unstable. Then the sign wouldn't break properly, absorbing impact instead of shattering. They reinforced certain sections, weakened others, tried different wood types. On attempt 14, Bruce's foot caught an edge of the sign wrong, twisting his ankle on landing. He limped off set, the studio medic wrapped it tight, and Bruce was back attempting the stunt 20 minutes later. Lo Wei suggested using a stuntman for the wide shot, cutting to Bruce for the close-up. Bruce refused absolutely. This moment was the film's emotional and political climax. Chen destroying that sign wasn't just action, it was revolution. It had to be him, all him, no compromise. Attempt 17 was perfect. Bruce flew through the air with such force the sign exploded into splinters. He landed clean, rolled into a defensive stance, and delivered his line without breaking character. The crew erupted in applause. That single shot became the most reproduced image from the film. Number 16. Bruce Lee's philosophical arguments with the director nearly shut down production. Lo Wei wanted a straightforward revenge film, simple and commercial. Bruce wanted to explore themes of nationalism, identity, and the cost of violence. They clashed constantly. Bruce would rewrite dialogue on set, adding Confucian philosophy and questions about honor. Lo Wei would demand they stick to the script, keep it simple, trust the action to carry the story. During one heated argument, Bruce threatened to walk off the production entirely. Raymond Chow had to intervene, negotiating a compromise. Bruce could add philosophical depth to his character's private moments, but the main plot would remain focused on revenge. This tension actually strengthened the film. Chen Zhen became deeper than a typical kung fu hero because Bruce infused him with internal conflict. The character questions his own violence, wonders if revenge truly honors his teacher's memory, struggles with becoming the monster he's fighting against. None of that was in the original script. All of it came from Bruce's stubborn insistence that martial arts films could be more than just fighting. Lo Wei later admitted that Bruce was right, but also noted that working with him aged him 5 years and 6 months. Number 17. The film's fight sound effects were created using vegetables. The iconic bone-crunching impacts, the sharp crack of strikes landing, the wet thud of bodies hitting ground. None of it was recorded during filming. The production's Foley artist, a veteran of Hong Kong cinema, created every impact sound in post-production, using a bizarre arsenal of produce. Celery stalks snapped near microphones provided bone breaks. Watermelons smashed with mallets gave body slams their sickening weight. Cabbage heads punched repeatedly created the sound of fists hitting flesh. For Bruce's lightning-fast combination strikes, the artist would crack multiple vegetables in rapid succession, layering the sounds to create cascading impacts. Bruce visited the Foley studio once and watched in fascination as his climactic fight scene was reconstructed using nothing but fruits and vegetables. He requested they make certain impacts louder, wanted audiences to feel every connection viscerally. The Foley artist complied, sometimes layering 6 or 7 vegetable sounds for a single kick. When audiences heard those impacts, they winced instinctively. The sounds bypassed the brain and hit the gut directly. Decades later, film students studying Fist of Fury's audio design would be shocked to learn that the most realistic fight sounds in martial arts cinema came from a produce market. Number 18. The film premiered in Hong Kong with barely any marketing and still broke every record imaginable. Golden Harvest couldn't afford a major promotional campaign. They printed basic posters, ran minimal newspaper ads, and hoped Bruce's fame from The Big Boss would carry over. Opening weekend projections were modest. Then something unexpected happened. Word of mouth exploded before the film even finished its first day. People who saw the morning show told friends who rushed to afternoon screenings. Those people told more people who lined up for evening shows. By day 3, theaters had lines wrapping around blocks. Police had to manage crowds. Some theaters added midnight screenings to handle demand. Fist of Fury wasn't just a hit, it was a phenomenon. The film ultimately grossed over 4 million Hong Kong dollars in its initial run, obliterating the Big Boss's record. It played continuously in some theaters for 6 months. Raymond Chow watched the box office numbers in disbelief, realizing they had accidentally created something bigger than cinema. They'd created a movement. Bruce Lee wasn't just a movie star anymore. He was a symbol of Chinese pride, of fighting back against historical humiliation, of refusing to bow. The film's success had transcended entertainment and become cultural statement. Number 19. Bruce Lee never saw how influential Fist of Fury would become. He died just over a year after the film's release, at age 32, before he could witness its global impact. The movie hadn't even finished its international rollout. Many countries still banned it. Most of America hadn't seen it yet. But in the years following Bruce's death, A Fist of Fury became a pilgrimage film. Martial artists watched it obsessively, studying every frame, trying to decode Bruce's techniques. Film students analyzed its cinematography and editing. Political activists saw it as allegory for anti-colonial resistance. The "sick man of Asia" scene was replayed in documentaries about Chinese diaspora identity. Universities taught courses using the film to discuss nationalism and cultural pride. Multiple remakes were produced, though none captured the original's raw power. Bruce had worried the film was too specific, too focused on Hong Kong's relationship with its history to translate globally. He was wrong. The themes of dignity, resistance, and refusing oppression resonated everywhere. People in Africa, South America, and the Middle East saw their own struggles reflected in Qin Zhen's fight. Bruce Lee became a global icon, not despite the film's Chinese specificity, but because of it. Universal stories come from specific truths. Number 20. The production wrapped 3 days ahead of schedule and under budget, virtually unheard of in Hong Kong cinema. How? Bruce Lee refused to waste time. He showed up prepared, knew his lines, had fight choreography mentally rehearsed, and pushed everyone to work at his intensity level. If a scene needed 5 takes, Bruce would ask why they couldn't nail it in 3. If a setup was taking too long, he'd suggest simpler solutions that achieved the same result. Some crew members resented his pace, felt rushed, wanted more time for perfection. But others thrived under the pressure, rising to Bruce's challenge. The efficiency came with cost, though. By the final week of filming, most of the crew was physically and emotionally exhausted. Bruce himself was running on fumes, held together by painkillers and determination. But when they called rap, there was genuine pride. They'd created something powerful without the usual chaos, delays, and budget overruns that plagued Hong Kong productions. Raymond Chow, watching the final edit, realized Bruce was more than an actor or martial artist. He was a force of nature that bent entire productions to his will through sheer intensity. And that force had just created a masterpiece. Bonus fact: there's a persistent legend that Bruce Lee actually killed someone during filming, and the production covered it up. It's not true, but the rumor won't die. The story goes that during the Japanese dojo fight scene, Bruce struck a stuntman too hard. The man collapsed and died either on set or hours later at a hospital. Supposedly, the Hong Kong film industry protected Bruce by claiming the death was unrelated. Film historians have investigated this claim for decades and found zero evidence. No death certificates, no hospital records, no news reports, no crew members confirming it. Every stuntman who worked on Fist of Fury survived and went on to other films. So, where did the legend start? Probably from Bruce's genuine power. He hit so hard, moved so fast, that audiences couldn't believe it was controlled. The injuries he did cause, bruises, sprains, bloody noses, got exaggerated through retelling until they became fatalities. Bruce himself addressed the rumor once, calling it disrespectful to martial arts and to the stunt performers who trusted him. But legends don't care about truth, they care about myth. And the myth of Bruce Lee hitting someone so hard they died, as false as it is, speaks to how superhuman he appeared on screen.